What's that old saying? Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. I can see why pirates like this. Tastes good. As you can tell by the shirt that I'm wearing, I'm going to be reviewing the One Piece Live Action. What I thought of it, what I didn't like, and all that lovely stuff. Let's get into it. First off, in terms of the casting, I thought it was a 10 out of 10. I thought maybe certain actors should have played other roles, but that's besides the point. And overall rating for the casting, 10 out of 10. I loved how they brought Ichiro Oda onto this show as an executive producer with veto power. And I feel as though when it comes to a lot of like manga, anime going to like the silver screen or to Netflix, I feel as though this Netflix and this in Hollywood, this is a big misstep that they do with taking manga and anime and translating it is they don't bring the creator. So for example, if it's like, hey, we're gonna do Dragon Ball. I'm not talking Dragon Ball Evolution. That one sucked. You know, we were gonna do Dragon Ball. How they're like, well, we don't need Akira Toriyama. It's like, you kinda do. He's the creator. So, kinda knows what should go where and when it should be put in place kind of thing. Or, you know, if they're like, we're gonna do a Naruto live action. It's like, oh, well, we're not gonna get Kishimoto. It's like, not a smart idea. In those situations, Akira Toriyama, Kishimoto, and any other creator should be put on as an executive producer like Oda was on this production. A little side note, the one thing for me that, you know, got me into One Piece, not just with the male and the female characters, or any other, it's basically all the characters. They all have flaws. They all have failings and weaknesses that they need to overcome. A lot of modern Hollywood is all about, I'm girl boss bitch, you know, She-Hulk, I don't have any flaws. It's like, nobody wants to watch a character like that. It's inspired me to write weaknesses into the characters, if you know what I mean. There's progression. It's not just, oh, well, I'm boss bitch, I'm the best. Let's get right into like a couple other points that I like about this show. When in the anime, Kobe and Luffy kind of depart, and Kobe becomes a Marine and does his stuff as a Marine, and Luffy goes on his adventures, and we focus more on Luffy in the anime. We don't really focus on Kobe and Himeko, which, by the way, Morgan Davies and Aiden Scott were really great as those characters. Himeko and Kobe, great fucking actors. You know, I applaud you guys. You did a really good job. And especially Aiden Scott, because like I really believed like that he was Himeko in the sense like, you know, how Himeko is introduced in the manga and anime. He's the sort of smug, arrogant, you know, son of Axe Hand Morgan, and kind of like walks around like he owns the place. And then he gets humbled up by Kobe and by Garp. So it was nice to see that translated into the live action. Maybe not exactly how it happened, but it was nice to see that they translated that to the screen. I really liked Jeff Ward's character portrayal of Buggy, and I feel as though if this series goes on, by the time we get to where I am in the anime, which is Luffy, Buggy, Number 3, and Bon Clay, I believe. All 4 of them I just got to level 4 of Impel Down, because Luffy wants to get to Ace, but they're at level 4 of the Burning Hells. So that's where I am in the anime, just so you guys understand. Back to this. I liked the idea that while we saw what was going on with Luffy and Zoro, Nami, and all of them, it would cut back to Garp. It would cut back to Himeko and Colby, and you would see them. And it would kind of be that sort of like intermingling, where it's like, it is a bit of both, and you understand, okay, this is this character, they're coming from this angle, this character's from there. I really, really, really loved the castings of, obviously, the main Straw Hats, Inaki, Emily, Kenyu, Taz, and Jacob. I really think they were brilliantly cast, and they really brought these characters, obviously, like, with the script that they had, because obviously, you know, you can't put all of East Blue in the order that it's in. And it's the one thing like I loved and hated as a fan, but I understand it, where it's like you're translating a manga that, you know, spans well over 100 chapters. You can't put every little chapter from every little scene into the live action. That would be like, again, if we talked to Oda, he'd say the same thing about Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. You can't put every word from every page, from every scene of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings into the movies, because one, it'd be a fucking 15-hour movie at that point, but also there'd be drawn out scenes where you're like, why am I watching this? So I understand, but I also kind of hate it, because there's some scenes where it's like, oh, that was a great scene in the anime. Oh, I can't believe they didn't put that in. Like the scene where one of Don Krieg's men gets to the Baratier where Sanji's working, and all the members of the Baratier, like, because this guy's acting so rude and, you know, ignorant, they kick him out. Even though he says, I'm starving, I need a meal. Sanji's, you know, to take some time to actually cook this guy a meal, which it was nice to see. Again, obviously not in the order it was, but it was there. I like how with the characters of Buggy and the Fishmen and any sort of like scars or like battle damage on these characters, it was practical effects. It wasn't like, oh, we'll just do in digital effects and it'll work. It's like, no. Although I hear that they're trying to do Chopper for the next season in practical effects. I'm not saying you couldn't do it, but my advice, Oda, if you're listening, and to the showrunners, maybe for Chopper and Brook, well, Brook a little more, but Chopper specifically, maybe not full digital effects, but maybe like a little bit of digital effects, just to kind of be like, okay, well, in this universe, this is how Chopper looks. We couldn't do this, you know, physically, or so let's do it digitally. But with Brook, yes, you definitely need to do digital effects, for the reason being, you know, he's a skeleton in a suit. But the fact he's a skeleton, so the way you would do that, yeah, you could do the whole paint the actor's face, right? Or the other option would be do what they did with Mark Ruffalo or Tom Holland, where they would get them in mocap suits, so they could still interact with the other actors, but like, oh, okay, Mark Ruffalo's doing mocap, but it's like the mocap he's doing is on the Hulk puppet. Vice versa, it's Tom Holland doing the mocap thing, but it's like, it's going to go onto the Spider-Man puppet. You would have to do the same thing with Brook. Brook is a skeleton. I really, really like the character, or like the actor who played Mihawk, Stephen John Ward, because it felt real. It's like, this seems like how Mihawk would act and how Mihawk would behave in this scene. Personality-wise, I'm like, oh my god, that's Mihawk. Same thing with Jeff Ward when he did Buggy. It's like, that's Buggy the Clown. And I love when actors, actresses kind of indulge themselves so far into the role where it's like, again, maybe not going to the point of method acting, but to the point where it's like, I understand this character in and out. I understand that in this particular scene, this character wouldn't behave this way. In this particular scene, this character might say this that way, not this way. I love when actors kind of indulge themselves that way. I can't wait to see with season 2 how they bring Chopper to the screen. Seeing as Chopper's a reindeer who had the human fruit, who can morph between reindeer and human. Like, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be so cool. And yes, I do agree, Jamie Lee Curtis would be a great actress to play the woman who basically raises Chopper and teaches him to be a doctor. I know, like you're saying, you're probably, oh, like, you know, you don't sound like a fan. I am. It's just like, usually when I film these videos, like, I kind of do quick little dot jots, so like it's kind of like escaping me, so I apologize. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to be like, that's how they brought Chopper to the screen. Or Brook, or Law, or Ace, or Whitebeard, or a Blackbeard would be fucking interesting to see. Because it's like, his character arc as well is fucking amazing. I would be so interested to see if they do flashbacks with Goldie Roger and his crew. So when Shanks and Buggy were younger, again, young Shanks and Buggy, that'd be fucking amazing to see. What they were like, how they bring that to the screen, that'd be fucking amazing. I'm just so excited to see what happens with the show. My rating for the first season obviously would be like 10 out of 10. You know, like, yeah, there were some flaws here and there, but I find them that I can overlook these flaws and again, what those flaws probably would be, as I said, it's like, okay, well, it was Arlong who attacked the Baratie in the live action, but it was actually Don Krieg in the anime. It's like, in the manga. It's like, I can look past that stuff because it's like, I understand when you are given, well, maybe I don't necessarily understand, but I can empathize with actors and writers who you're given such a short window to be like, hey, you only have 8 episodes to get this story out. Okay, so I need to reduce the entire East Blue saga. As I said, that's probably first 50, first 100 chapters or so. And it's like, okay, well, I need to reduce this down to 8 episodes and have stories and, you know, backstories and all this stuff to pull the audience in. I empathize. So I hope in the next season they can maybe get 10 episodes or get like a few more episodes. That would be great because then you can expand a bit more on these characters and the flaws, the weaknesses. And again, one of the things I love about reading Oda, and not just Oda, but all the other manga creators, everything from Dragon Ball to Attack on Titan, Inuyasha, Full Metal, Naruto, doesn't matter. They write them with flaws, and it's so great to see that. You don't see that in modern Hollywood. I think if I was to audition, which I think One Piece is the one show where like one of the 5 shows that if I was doing my band shit, doing some other shit, I would drop everything to go be a part of that production, just for the sheer honor of it. If I had to play a role, I'd probably audition for Chopper, but no, I don't think I'd get that. The reason is, like, I've always liked Chopper. I've always thought Chopper was a really interesting character where it's like he was sort of ostracized as a reindeer from his herd, and then when he ate the human fruit, he was even ostracized even more. So it's like that feeling of being, you don't feel accepted. I've always liked that about Chopper, and then him kind of learning to be like, hey, you know, I'm among the Straw Hats. I am accepted here. If I'm going to go to Chopper, probably also audition for Brooke. Musician, you know? Because, like, I might not be able to play the violin or the piano, but I can learn, and I'm willing to learn that. But as a bass player in my band, I'm very good at kind of like picking up rhythm. And like, the one thing I love about Song Binks' Brew is the rhythm of the song. It's very sea shanty, very, you know, have a few drinks with the lads in the pub kind of song, right? And then the only other character I probably would audition for would be Trafalgar Law, because I really love his backstory. I really love the idea that he was kind of recruited into Doflamingo's family, as it were, where and it was that sort of idea. It wasn't like the Frankie family where it's like, you're loved and accepted. It was like, you're in my family until you're not in my family. Like, that's the difference between Frankie family and Doflamingo. I think it'd be interesting to play Trafalgar Law because it's like, even as a teenager, I've always kind of felt like that. I've always felt like, you know, I didn't belong. I was not one of the cool kids. I didn't have the right clothes or whatever, you know. Whether it's Brooke, Chopper, or Law, or heck, any character on One Piece, you know. I feel as though it'd be an interesting role to play. As I said, Brooke, Chopper, or Law. So, I can't wait to see what happens with this show. I'm excited to see what comes next. So I'm gonna finish my rum here. Cheers. Yo-ho, yo-ho. Pirate's life for me.
You wanna be my friend?